So I have how we finished the last module. There's a little recap of this whole unit so far, right? First thing, so I'm gonna do with red. I'm gonna say the first thing we saw, what if the angle was in the center of the circle, right? It was equal to the arc that it created. Second thing we saw is, what if the angle is on the circumference of the circle, right? We just went angle times 2 is equal to the arc that it created. And then the third thing we saw the last module was, what if the angle is somewhere inside the circle, not necessarily the center, somewhere inside the circle? We went angle times 2, and then we added the arcs. Remember, we did examples 9 and 10 from our notes. So for today, we're going to be looking at still a circle here. Let's assume that's a circle. But now, let's say, what if I have an angle outside of the circle? So my vertex is gonna, my angle is gonna look like that. My vertex is outside of the circle. So you notice how I have an angle here, but now here, I'm gonna create still two arcs. Let me highlight them in red. I'm still gonna create two arcs. One of them is bigger than the other. The way I'm gonna do this, for the fourth topic from this unit, the way I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna multiply the angle times 2. So the angle is out here. I'm gonna multiply the angle times 2, but in this case, I'm going to subtract the arcs. Order matters. Let me just say this arc right here, the farthest arc is the big arc, and the smallest arc is the closest arc is the small arc. We're gonna call this. Oops, I've erased this here. So from the angle, farthest away is the big arc and the closest is the small arc. The way I do this, order matters. I'm gonna go the big arc minus the small arc, because a big number minus a small number will give me a positive sign. And I want my value to be positive. So again, I'm gonna go the angle times 2 equals, I'm gonna subtract the arcs, but because I want my answer to be positive, I'm gonna go the big arc minus the small arc. The big arc is the arc farthest away from the angle, and the small arc is this arc closest to the angle. So let's take a look at number 11. The angle is 7x plus 7, right? So I'm gonna go 7x plus 7, and I'm gonna multiply everything times 2 equals. Now my two arcs, let me highlight them in red. The big arc is 165, and the small arc is 10x plus 7. So I'm gonna go the big arc, 165 minus. Now notice how my small arc has a plus in between. So I'm gonna put all of it inside parentheses. I'm gonna write 10x plus 7 inside parentheses. As a matter of fact, let me even write my big arc inside parentheses. I'm gonna write the arcs inside parentheses because the signs, there's some difference on some signs. So I'm just gonna put arcs inside parentheses. So let's see what I have. Let me get rid of parentheses. On the left side, well, let me separate my sides. On the left side of the parentheses, or the equal sign I made, let me distribute the 2. So I'm gonna have 14x plus 14 equals. My first parentheses, I just have 165. So that's easy to get rid of the parentheses. My second parentheses, let me distribute the negative side. So that gives me negative 10x minus 7. Now let me combine like terms. On the left side, nothing I can combine. So 14x plus 14. Cannot combine them because one of them has an x, the other one does not. Now on the left side, on the right side, I mean, I see the terms that have an x. There's a negative 10x. Then 165 minus 7. I can combine that. 165 minus 7, I'm going to call it positive 158. Okay, I still want to combine letters or like terms. I see those terms that have an x. There's a 14x on the left side, and there's a negative 10x on the right side. Gotta move one of them. I'm gonna move the negative, to be honest, because I don't want to deal with positives. So I don't want to deal with negatives. So this negative 10x, I'm gonna move it to the left as a positive 10x. Gotta switch the sign. And then this positive 14, I'm gonna move it to this other side as a minus 14. Gotta switch the sign. Notice how I move everything that had a letter, I moved it to the left, to one side. Everything that didn't have a letter, I moved it to the other side. Okay. Now on the left side, 14x plus 10x, right? 14 plus 10. I'm gonna call that 24x. Here, 158 minus 14. That is 144. Now let me divide both sides by 24. So I'm going to get x equals 144 divided by 24. It's equal to 6. All right, so x is equal to 6. I was supposed to solve for x, and there you go, x equals 6. Remember, all I did was the angle times 2 equals, and then I subtracted the arcs. But I went big arc minus the small arc. All right, let's take a look at number 12. The angle is 4x plus 9, right? So I'm gonna say 4x plus 9 multiplied everything by 2, because the angle I multiplied by 2 equals, where are my two arcs? One arc is 133, that's the big arc, and the small arc is 12x minus 5. So I'm gonna go the big arc, 133, minus the small arc, 12x minus 5. Notice each of my arcs, I put them inside parentheses. Okay, now let me separate my sides. Let me get rid of parentheses. On the left, let me distribute the 2. So that's going to give me 8x plus 18 equals, first parentheses, 133. Nothing I can do. Now let me distribute the negative sign. So it's going to give me negative 12x plus 5, right? Negative times a negative is positive. Let me combine like terms. On the left side, nothing I can combine. So I'm just going to write 8x plus 18. Nothing I can combine. On the right side, when it comes to letters, I can go negative 12x. When it comes to numbers, I can go 133 plus 5. So I'm going to call that positive 138. I still want to combine like terms. So I look at my letters. I got to move the letters to one side and then the terms that don't have a letter to the other side. So I ask myself, do I want to move the 8x or do I want to move the negative 12x? Doesn't matter. By my choice, I'm going to move the negative 12x. I'm going to cancel the negative 12x. I'm going to move it to the other side as a plus 12x. Don't forget to switch the sign. So I have letters on the left side. So this positive 18 that doesn't have a letter, let me move it here as a minus 18. Letters on one side and terms without a letter on the other side. I'm just going to combine like terms. On the left side, notice I have, when it comes to x's, I have 8 plus 12. So I'm going to call that 20x. On the right side, I have 138 minus 18. So I'm going to call that 120. Let me finish this thing off by dividing by the number in front of x. So let me divide both sides by 20. So this is 1x. 120 divided by 20 is 6. Let me show you guys again what we did. We started with the angle times 2. And then we went the big arc minus the small arc.